Make that big boss less special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
Hello, Internet, and welcome back, or welcome to Indie Please Add Details, Episode 7. My name is Keegan, one half of Level 2 Gamers, hanging out with Bangers and Mash himself, Tom, the second half of Level 2 Gamers.
If you keep saying that, someone's going to call me in the street one day, and it's going to upset me
I
very
know,
much.
it's hysterical, because David's like, oh, Tom didn't like what you said. I go, you know that means I'm going to keep doing it, right? So,
I just have to think of an appropriate retort now.
yeah, how you doing today, Tom?
I'm not bad.
You were better until I called you Bangers and Mash.
No, I was fine. I'm a little tired. I've been working kind of extra on some side projects and stuff, and I had to scramble last night to get Solace project stuff together.
Yeah, you recorded and then it didn't work, and then...
I recorded it, and then I fucked up a bunch, and I was like, okay, I'm going back to the beginning, and I'll re-record this, and then I lost the footage. And then I was like, fucking hell, okay, third time in a row, I went back in, and then I got 2 hours of footage, so I was like, fuck it, you're having all of it.
Which is on our channel now. Tomorrow, you can see the Indie Please Add Details. I'm assuming that's your spotlight for tomorrow.
Yeah, that will be there,
sense.
and also I did a quick review for it as well, so there's actually like a 7-minute quick review, too.
Cool. This is, though, Indie Please Add Details, our weekly dive and or dip, depending on how you do it. Depends on how deep the puddle is. Or how
Today,
deep
it's a dive.
It's a dive. We got a big
today.
one. So our weekly dive into the world of indie games and indie developers, where we discuss the news and our indie excursions throughout the week, topping it all off with a discussion that you can join. You can listen to us on your favorite podcast service, Google Play, iTunes, I don't know.
Something.
Stitcher, SoundCloud. There's like 17 million of them. Or you can see our lovely faces on level2gamers.com. To continue discussion after the show, hit us up on Twitter. You can discuss on or offline.
At
Level2Gamers STL.
There you go.
I was off one. Damn, I had it.
So close to perfect.
But yeah, this is going to be a big show. Normally we have 3 details. We have 7 details today.
7 details, man. That's a lot to fill in.
Without further ado,
They're good ones, though.
let's jump in. Don't Nod delays Vampyr to spring 2018.
Now, do you pronounce that Vampyr or Vampyr?
Vampyr.
You just go for the straight Vampyr.
It's not pure, it's pyre.
I know that's how you say it, but when because it's spelled 2 ways. Because in England, vampire is spelled V-A-M-P-I-R-E.
Yeah, that's how you normally spell it.
So what's the, like, I have heard the term, like, vampire, almost like it's like a foreign pronunciation of it.
I think they did this just for fun.
You think so?
Just so it
just to
sticks
make
out.
it quirky spelling or whatever?
It's like center, R-E-E-R, you know?
Okay.
Just for fun.
Just for fun.
People just flip them around.
Yeah, we just spell that different for no
Yeah,
reason.
just for fun. Well,
It's like Korn,
yeah.
the band. Stick a K in there.
Speaking of corn, I'm
Turn
gonna
the R
have lots of corn when I go home. I'm making me some lovely food tonight.
Okay.
But anyways, Don't Nod. Action RPG Vampyr sinks its fangs into spring 2018. The eagerly awaited by many players upcoming RPG Vampyr announces delay of its release to spring 2018 on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Oscar Goulabert, I'm gonna say. CEO of Don't Nod Entertainment explains, delaying the release of a project you hold dear is always a tough decision.
Gwilbert. Sorry, I was looking for it.
Gwilbert? I was gonna say Gilbert at first.
Gwilbert.
It's French. It sounds French. However, we believe that meeting a deadline should never compromise quality. We were still convinced just a few weeks ago that we'd be able to release Vampyr this year. Unfortunately, a technical issue now solved has set our team's schedule back to at the end of the development. This delay allows us enough time for all the polishing and balancing phase, much needed for a game of Vampyr's scope and its ambitious semi-open world, its complex narrative, and deep RPG mechanics that give players a real impact on the world. We want to thank our publisher Focus Home Interactive for giving us the means and necessary time to provide players a memorable experience, especially since so many of you are eagerly waiting for it. Vampyr released 2018, spring. I don't remember the original date. It was going to be this year.
So this one...
But I can't remember.
So Don't Nod did Life is Strange, correct?
I believe so, yes.
So I wasn't sure what this type of game was going to be.
It's an RPG.
The trailer
it's a Vampyr RPG.
I understand that from here, but like in the trailer that they released was mostly cinematic. It was mostly just
because they Don't Nod did not do Life is Strange Before the Storm. No. This is the game they're working on.
Different group, but yeah, I mean, I liked that they said there was a technical problem.
We solved it.
We solved it, and in order to have enough time to put the polish on top of this and make it a solid product, that they're going to need the extra thing. The only thing that I'm interested in is I think they should communicate like what the problem was. I'm just interested.
I think 90% of people don't care.
Yeah, but I feel like those of us like me that do, like, I mean, if it's a genuine technical issue or not is what I'm saying. So like, if there's a lot of people like with Destiny, when the first Destiny came out, and they said, oh, you know, technical things we have to get over. It's like, no, your head artist or whatever left. Like, that was almost like an excuse they threw out for some of the stuff that was going on with that. I hope it's not something similar like this. Like, something really bad did happen, and they're just saying, oh, it's a technical thing.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Because I've not heard any other news from them.
Okay.
So this is because it's funny because this game was in the phase of like heads down, get to work. And then this came out, and because everything I'd heard had been up to that point that it's going fine. And then, I mean, technical bug can be anything. It could be they added a new system, it crashed another system.
No, I'm sure it was something
like there's
silly.
there's things like that. So I don't think that is just because I've not heard anybody leaving. I've not heard of anything else outside of this release from them. There's been no leaks, but it's also a smaller team, so that doesn't mean as much. I do find it interesting that they want to they thank their publisher because the publisher, excuse me, a lot of the times determines release date.
Traditionally at odds. Yeah.
They want it out sooner because they're putting the money in and they want to recoup that money. So it's really cool that they took the time to thank the publisher.
And the fact that they were just open and honest
Yes.
about it. And it wasn't just a case of like, it's being delayed, deal with it. You know, they actually said, here's why. So I thought that was good.
Detail number 2. You showed me this thing. It's called Play on Jump. PlayOnJump.com. Did you play on Jump? This is basically the way you described it to me, and the way it kind of looks like is Netflix for indie games. 60 plus indie games, unlimited access, highly curated, on demand.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to play with it at all?
I haven't. So I did check it out quite heavily, and I did send off an email. I found the sort of contact information. I sent off an email, and I was like, hey, tell me more about this, because you know, we want to see if we can do something. And so I found it from Reddit. I was just browsing Reddit, and there was an AMA with the guy that made it, and he actually put that sort of thing that you determined that was me, the Netflix of indie games, as his title in there. So I'm like, Netflix of indie games, let's fucking dig in and see, like, you know, what it is. And yeah, I mean, it looks all right. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the only concern I have, and I went through the titles in there, and they're not bad. Like, they're decent indie games. They're not like just, you know, tosh that they're throwing out there. They're decent sized ones. The $10 a month thing, like, I think Netflix can demand that and probably double that, to be honest, because of the size of the library. But then I remember that Netflix also started out with a really like shallow library. So
Netflix started out as DVDs.
Well, yeah, and then
when streaming happened, then they charged more, and now it's all in one.
Yeah, so it's kind of like
no, they separated it recently, but
I want to support it because I feel like if they do get more devs on board, and if they get a better like marketing campaign behind them, then it could do really, really well. But also, it's primarily Steam only right now, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the one.
No, it's so not. The way it functions is, let's go over pricing and structure first, and I'll get into how it functions. So. It's like you said, it's $9.99, unlimited. You can play as much as you want. 14-day free trial, which is what I did. Cancel at any time, no commitment, blah, blah, blah. New games added every month, hundreds of dollars in value, hundreds of hours in gameplay. That's to be determined. And then support game developers. You play, they get paid. 70% of everything goes to, which is 70-30 is an unusual split for most things. 70% goes to game developer, 30 goes to
I
Jump.
did not know that part. That is even better.
That is good. That is good to know.
So they get. I mean, when you look at like people like Spotify and stuff, what do they get? What do they give their artists?
I'm not going to say the guy's name because I don't want to call him out on it. But this dude that I know had 46,000 listens. And said he didn't get paid very much. Like, we're talking cents.
Like 46 cents?
Not even.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want to say how much just because...
That's fair. But like, yeah, I mean, they are traditionally shitheads with that stuff. But, yeah, I think...
And that's why... Well, that's like YouTube Red. On YouTube Red, you split it up more and you get more money because you're paying a subscription fee versus based on listens or plays or whatever. But the way Jump works is you download the app. The coolest part, because the thing I hate is when they do 14-day free trials and they make you sign up with a credit card, so they're going to auto-renew it.
Yeah.
They don't do that, which I was a fan of. That's why I was like, you know what, I'm going to trust you because you didn't make me do that. It downloads an app. You have to install it, and it's both Mac and PC compatible. I played it on Mac, obviously. This is what I have. And there, it's got its own interface. So... It's got, like, they have, like, library or home where you can view, like, the stuff you have. You can then browse games. You can then favorite games that you want to play or current games you're playing, so on and so forth. It does not download it. It is 100% streaming.
Oh, really?
So keep that in mind.
So your network connection...
Yeah. But they're small games, so I didn't have much of an issue with
So
it.
it's very similar to PS Now.
Yeah, I played probably 4 or 5 different games with it to just test out the service and see how it worked.
How was it?
It was good. I had no issue with the game. You hit full screen button, goes full screen. It supports controllers if you want controllers. Obviously, keyboard and mouse is the default input. The only issue I really had with it was the information about the games was. I wish they had more to, because these are most of the games I've never heard of. So I would have to go based on the screenshot, and then if you hover over it, so it's got like panel style. So if you hover over it, it'll give you a mini description. And you click on it, it gives you the big description.
No trailers or anything?
I did not see any. That's partially what I wish was in there. Was some sort of other thing, whether it's a link.
You know how big of a fan we are of trailers.
Well, even if it's a link, because you're on your computer already, even if it's a link to the YouTube trailer, that'd be fine, because it just open up the browser.
Yeah.
But I did like that it was its own app. I don't know. I know why they probably couldn't do Steam, because it would probably violations
Rights
of
issues and things.
Rights and licensing.
Well, what
and
I
all
was
that.
thinking was like not for the Steam issue, but like if this does take off, then do what Netflix does. Make your app available on other platforms. So, for example, you could have the Jump app in the PS4 store, download that app, and then you could stream games directly from them that are compatible with PS4. So the indie titles, they could have their own PS4 library. Like that's the expansion I'd like to see on it. I think if that was the case, I would jump all aboard that.
Here's a couple. They have their FAQs. I'm going to go through a couple of them.
Sure.
What kind of games will you have on Jump? Jump will feature games across a wide variety of genres, including action, adventure, roguelike, dungeon crawlers, couch co-op, artsy platformers, 8-bit narrative puzzlers, RPGs, turn-based strategy games, and more. Yeah. So everything.
All the games.
How many games will be added each month? Subscribers can expect to find approximately 6 to 10 new games each month.
That's good.
That's a decent amount. Yeah. How long what will games leave the catalog? This is the important one to me, because like, if there's a game, how long do I have to play it? Like, will it be gone 2 months from now?
Right.
Games typically will remain on the site for a minimum of 12 months, with the opportunity for developers to keep them going beyond that period. So minimum year. I'm cool with that. Like if they're like, hey, you have a year to play this game.
That's fair.
And they're all
Netflix
indie games,
changes
so
them out every month or so, although they tend to leave them up for like several months at a time. But, But yeah, that's fair.
Let's see. Oh no, does Jump stream video? Nope. Delivers the best possible quality via its hyper jump technology. It delivers games without video streaming, which is typically plagued by lag and other issues. Oh, so I lied there. It's not streaming. Jump was built on innovative technique that provides quick loading with minimal download space required. So I lied to you. It's not streaming, but it sounds like it is streaming to a certain extent.
Oh, that's interesting. Did they use that thing that Apple used, where they have like when they download a portion of the game that you're playing, and then they offload it, and then they download the next portion and they offload it?
Well, I don't know, because
sounds like that's what they're talking
here's
about.
the next thing. So no permanent downloads or installs either. Correct. Our hyperjump technology lets you quickly load up and then run the games just as smoothly as if they were installed on your device, but there's no permanent download, and thus
yeah, I think that's different. I think you're half right.
Don't lose a significant storage on your space. Translation: goodbye lengthy downloads and storage juggling.
Yeah, I think you're half right. I think it's the same technology Apple uses, where it's just basically like they make it in such a way that they will only download, like let's say like the tutorial, and then as you're approaching the end of the tutorial, they download the next part, but they don't do the rest of the game. And then when you move to the secondary part of the game, they delete the tutorial and then they download the next part. And then like they keep it's like leapfrogging over each other.
Yeah.
It's a technique that they use, I think, to help free up space on the phones. So I wouldn't surprise me if that's kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Here. So it's not permanent.
Cloud saves, so you don't have to worry about, again, storing anything.
Cool.
What platforms are supported? Like I said, PC, Mac, Linux, and Rift and Vive is supported. I didn't see any VR games on there initially. Doesn't mean there's not. I definitely didn't dig that hard into them, because I was just like, let me find the ones that I think I would like best to play. I found a couple of
That's got to be quite a difficult task to just stream those, though, because VR games traditionally, I mean, they're going to have to be pretty big chunks. They are a lot more complicated.
Yes. Yeah.
I would think.
Can you play across different platforms? Yes. Will my desktop need to meet game-specific minimum requirements? Specific games may have slightly higher minimum requirements. Our hyperjump technology runs as if they were installed, which means just uses your local hardware, i.e. GPU, CPU, RAM, to load and run. Requirements are listed on each game's page. Can I connect controllers? Yes.
That didn't really answer that question, though, did it, about the requirements?
No. Well, it changes from game to game.
Okay.
So it says you have to go to each game page.
Basically.
Yes.
So a lot shorter answer.
What internet speed do I need? Don't worry, any old broadband speed will do. The only effects are the initial loading of the game. So while it may take a little longer using dial-up at grandma's house, after after the loading game plays locally on your desktop, no need for a super fast connection, although it will make your initial game load faster. Most games load in under 60 seconds on a 15 megabit per second download, which I have 130, so it's like it was instant. Like I joked because the loading screen was there and then it was gone. I was like, oh, cool. And what was really cool to me was jumping in and out of games was real simple. And it saved. So one of the questions I had, and I can't remember if it was here, if I found it somewhere else, was if I start a game and I go play another game, is my save still
where it's at?
Where it's at? And the answer is yes.
That's good.
It stays there as long as you are at a save point, obviously. So it doesn't change. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like I said, you showed this to me. I was quite intrigued by it. Jump $10 a month, 14-day free trial. I recommend you guys go check it out and see what you think.
It's at least worth the trial for sure, and see if you like it. I'm probably going to give it a shot and see if I like it or not. I've not tried playing any games on that machine yet, so might be worth a go.
Yeah, and the fact that it's Mac, Linux, PC, Vive, and HTC is kind of cool. Again, I think VR is a bit of a stretch, but the fact that it's those three,
the proof is in the pudding, isn't it?
It's cool.
You know what I mean? You just got to do it and see what you think.
Yeah. Detail number 3. Moving right along. Terrifying Jellyfish, aka TJ, who we may or may not have interviewed on our channel. You can go check it out. I'm sure there's gonna be a boop or something for good. Was featured in US Gamer. I gotta make this bigger because I can't read it.
Good for him, man. TJ's a super nice guy.
Inside one artist's quest to make people super hungry with a video game.
They're talking about Noor in case.
Yeah, Noor from TJ Hughes offers a mess-free way to play with your food for a change. And I'm gonna go through a couple. This is a long article, so I'm gonna go through a couple things here.
Knock her down.
What elicits hunger? Some people probably say hormones for the scientifically correct answer, or is it something deeper like a tummy unexpectedly rumbling in a quiet room, or is it driven by pure scent like walking past bakery and getting a whiff of freshly baked goods, or is it just taste even? That's weird English.
I think, is that the conceptualization description of the game?
That's the question. Well, that's the question they asked.
What TJ's trying to say with it.
Well, that's not him. That's the person asking the
US
question.
Gamer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in artist and game developer TJ Hughes' new project Noor, which launched on Kickstarter this week, Hughes wants to investigate another way we feel hungry through exploring how to digitally make food look as good as it tastes, exploring hunger through sight, hunger through pure art, hunger through play. For Hughes, who operates under the moniker Terrifying Jellyfish, the path to putting an experimental game about food on Kickstarter was almost accidental, which he told us this story. Again, some of this can be repeated from our interview. It actually all started with silly 3D art GIFs of foods, or GIFs. I can never remember.
Well, it's a content. The owner said it was GIF, but it's graphical user interface. No, graphical something image format or whatever. So it should be GIF.
Officially. But it actually all started with 3D silly art foods and GIFs that looked unrealistic but somehow delicious. As the experiments got surprisingly retweeted and liked thousands of times, soon Hughes was receiving messages about how hungry the art made people because of how well it captured the milky and delectable essence of milk tea with boba and ramen, respectively. Hughes was later asked to present the art at an event. It was here that Hughes decided that maybe it was time to make an unexpected sort of game, not just GIFs or stills for Twitter fodder, but something that was enjoyable to play and something that was good to look at.
And he did a lot of this with Twitter as well, didn't he?
So
by the way, some of this footage is yours.
Is it?
Yeah. We sent him all the footage that we got in
so that's probably me.
It might be. In the article, it might be. If not, it's definitely on the Kickstarter. Because I noticed one that I remembered you doing. I think it was like when you were grinding like silver crap through.
When I got bored. This is definitely me because that's where I got the straw stuck. So usgamer.net. The link's going to be down in the description below.
Keep playing.
But that's my gameplay footage. But there's a huge. It's about. Looks like 3-ish pages, maybe 2 pages.
That's good.
Of an interview. I would highly recommend reading it. He's an interesting dude. We love him, obviously. St. Louis.
His art aesthetic, like his style, is fucking great. Like he loves.
This has got to be me playing based on what I'm seeing here.
It's like neon colors. He loves. It's a very like 80s style aesthetic, like sort of like 80s hippie. I love it. And the dude is super talented, super nice guy. He's been working with Happy
Super
Badger.
quiet. That's
He is.
he's so introverted, but he does
he's a
such
little
cool
introverted.
shit.
But he helps out Happy Badger. I think he helped them on Smugglecraft, which is a big one. But it just in general, Terrifying Jellyfish is a really, really interesting studio, and they are here in St. Louis, so we like to rep them a little bit. So go check out our interview with TJ, or just watch Keegan's gameplay footage, which is apparently some of the same footage they're using for Kickstarter, which is cool.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
So that's Terrifying Jellyfish. I clicked the Kickstarter. Kickstarter right now, just FYI, is at 14,105 of 25,000 with 21 days to go as of recording. So
Doing pretty
20
good.
days to go.
Yeah.
So obviously having the US Gamers spotlighted is kind of nice.
Yeah, go ahead and donate to that Kickstarter. It's
Yes.
it's an interesting looking game.
Yep. Cool. Next one is kind of sad.
It's super sad.
We're going to go from a real happy one to a real kind of sad one.
Yeah.
Everybody's gone to the Rapture studio. The Chinese room lays off staff and is going dark. Again, I got to zoom in so I can read here. This one's short. I can read the whole thing.
Okay.
The Chinese Room, a British studio best known for its first-person adventure games like Everybody's Gone to the Rapture and Dear Esther, have announced today that it's laid off its staff and it's going dark for the next few months. Co-founder Dan Pitchbeck wrote an extensive blog post that announces the news, explaining that the temporary closure was in the cards since earlier this year. Pitchbeck said that his decision has to do with financial pressures following a health scare, and a pause is needed to recharge. He writes, to cut a long story short, the situation between financial pressures, trying to keep the lights on for the employed team, the stress of end development, health issues, just wasn't a tenable thing anymore. It was time to take a break, recharge, recover, and have a good think about the future. The Chinese Room had 2 games in the works, the 13th Interior and the Little Orpheus. But Pinchback assures that these titles are still releasing as planned. He explains that he will still be interacting with the community through social media, but that the studio no longer is fully active development. Pitchback says the team put their all into wrapping up these upcoming titles, and the studio's employees were helped in their search to find positions elsewhere. Pitchback ends on a more optimistic note. I can't read. Is it the end for the Chinese Room? No, I don't think so. But is it the end of a chapter? And we hope you can be all. It is the end of a chapter, and we hope you all can be patient while we figure out what happens next.
There you go.
So I think I have two thoughts on this.
Sure.
Of what happened.
Go ahead.
Thought number one is they had funding that got pulled somewhere, whether it's publishing or whatever it may be, and then they're like, oh shit, because I have no money,
Right.
Because they can't keep the lights on, and it sucks. Cause I give them credit for shutting the doors and publicly saying, hey, this is what happened, without really saying, hey, this is what happened.
There's a lot of studios that just kind of dissolve into the
Yeah.
ether or have like shitty business deals. This is genuinely just an indie studio that was struggling.
Yeah.
And yeah. I'll let you finish.
Because then the other thing is the walking simulator, so Gone to the Rapture, Dear Esther, has kind of had a big influx of things when it comes to amount of games in that genre. So I can think of like Gone Home, Tacoma, which is from Fulbright. You've got
Edith Finch.
Yeah, What Remains of Edith Finch. So comparing that to Dear Esther and Gone to the Rapture, they weren't bad games by any stretch of the imagination.
Really
but
like them.
I think what happens is that genre becomes so saturated, and I always talk the business side of things, where you hit critical mass at some point, and critical mass to me for a walking sim is a lot less than critical mass on something else.
Sure.
So I don't know how much it costs to produce these games and how much money they make back.
You think that it was just lack of sales in general because of the saturated market?
That, and I also just think it's a genre that a lot of people don't jump in on.
That's true.
Because it's harder to describe than most genres. So like,
I mean, it's the art piece of the game world, isn't it? It's a story. They're always beautiful narrative driven stories, but they are more just like a visual exploration of a novel or a tale or something than an actual game. So they don't necessarily share the same spotlight as some of the big ones. And I think the problem is a lot of the times people push them to that spotlight. They say, like Sony will like harp on about Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, like it's the best thing since sliced bread. And then when a lot of people pick that game up and try and play it, and then they find out that, hey, where's the gun, or where's the because people don't always do research on indie games and really dig in. So it makes me sad because I have a special relationship with Dear Esther. It was the first game I ever played on a Mac.
So Dear Esther, I just played I was supposed to do it for a Spotlight a few months ago, and I just never ended up. I don't think I ended up doing it.
It's a nice little tale.
I think that's when we had my grandma's situation going. So I think I did it for that week, and then I never got around to.
Have you played it since?
Yeah, I finished it.
What do you think?
I liked it. It was very minimalistic. I loved the narration. I could see to me. I couldn't do it really in one sitting. I had to do it in chunks because I would
it's
get
not
to
that
the point,
long though.
No, but I would just get to the point where I was like, I want to do something.
Okay.
But as you know, I love story-driven games, so there's definitely a pull for me. But I like story-driven games that allow me to do gameplay mechanics at times, and I felt like a lot of times it was just literally me walking.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, it was.
Yeah. That's what
it was. Essentially telling a poem while you're walking around the scenery where the poem is being described from.
And the poem's really cool. It's really.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful story.
I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't played it, but there's a couple of moments that happen, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like eye-opening.
It's really cool, and then Everybody's Going to the Rapture was
I did
really
not play that one.
Interesting as well. But it's I don't know, it's just sad to me because Chinese Room have always put out solid games, and I think the stuff that makes me extra sad is like they're talking about like the health issues and things like that. It's like, have they got to a point where he can't inject their own money into it because they need to pay medical bills? Then that's just a fucked up situation, regardless of. That's somebody's business, and whether it's a small little retail store in a mall somewhere, or whether it's a development studio, not being able to pay your bills because of you need medicine is stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the English healthcare system works.
It's free.
Well, yeah, but I know
everything is free.
But they have privatized stuff as well too.
They do.
I don't know how the system functions.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you have private places that you can pay for like fast treatment and like your own rooms and things like that. But the National Health Service is an option. So
because the other thing is it doesn't necessarily say it's medical expenses. I don't think
it could. I mean, it could just be like a loss in the family or something.
Or it could be stress.
Yeah, or stress.
I mean, because producing games is not an easy thing, and you can't if you stop. Which is what they're doing because they have to. But if you stop, you kind of fall off the radar and you have no money coming unless you're building the next thing.
Right.
So,
but usually when someone's describing like anxiety or depression or stress, they say just like it was driving me crazy or I couldn't deal with it. They wouldn't actually specifically say I had a medical condition unless it was like.
Well, it just says health issues.
Health issues, yeah. I mean mental health issues.
So financial pressures, trying to keep lights on for the employed team, the stress of end of development, health issues were just wasn't attainable anymore.
Yeah, well, that sucks. But hopefully they do just have a short break and then they recombine their efforts and come back stronger. Yeah,
or like I said, maybe this is a reset for them too. Of like
because he did good, didn't
he stopped. I don't know sales on it.
Right, because I know that at some point it was the free game.
Just because it had a lot of press doesn't mean it sold well.
True. Critical acclaim does not equal money.
Yeah.
Money developers.
So I'm hoping that one of the things is they just kind of did this and they want to take a break and figure out what they want to do. And because I think they want to do, I don't know if they want to stay with walking sims, whatever. I don't know this guy personally, obviously.
And they'll have a war chest too because they have those 2 games that are coming out. So as long as they finish those up with enough care to attention to detail that they did with the first 2 games, then I think we'll be in a really good spot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of detail number 5.
Oh,
we're almost there, Tom. Almost there. You remember that game Yonder, the Cloud Catcher Chronicles that I used to talk about when it came out?
A lot, didn't you?
I've played the crap. I've not played any of it really on. I played the launch stream and I played a couple streams after that, but I played it a lot by myself. And it's a lot of fun. I've asked the developer if it's possible that they could add a 2 save system. They have not been able to figure it out because I was like, I need a personal save and I need a stream save because you can set save files.
Multiple save files.
They let multiple save files, but you can't name them, so you don't know which one's which.
Well, just use your fucking head. Number 1 is me. Number 2 is
no. It goes on top. So it's like date time, so you can go back to a save file.
So it's not like
it's like Fallout 4. Yeah. Gotcha. So that's where I get lost. It's like, which one is this?
Yeah.
But anyways, update from the dev team because I love Prideful Sloth, good old small team out of Australia, New Zealand, I believe.
Big fans.
It's been a busy time for us since we sent out our last update. It's also a very exciting time. As we mentioned, Yonder was shown at the Gamescom BIC Festival and Tokyo Game Show (TGS). It was also shown at PAX West. It's safe to say that Yonder has been making its way around the world. We have a new update out now on PC and coming to PS4 this week. Probably already launched when the store updates, so it's probably here. This has a number of fixes and improvements and some new content, and more excitingly, it has new critters. Best part of the game is the creatures that you come upon. There's the Gruffalo, is my favorite. He's like a buffalo hairy buffalo bison thing. I don't know what to call them. We're also working on plans for Halloween content and a larger content pack to come for the end of the year.
Cool.
Also, if you have been on the fence, sitting on the fence buying... Wait, if you have been fence sitting... If you have been fence sitting, that's a weird way to say that.
I mean, it's all right.
If you have been fence sitting on buying Yonder, it is on sale on Steam for a limited time, so hurry and grab yourself a copy if you haven't already. Instead of reading my waffle, I'll leave it here, and you can just get the good bits. As always, the Yonder team. So, we're happy to announce that Update 5, called The Great Peace, is now live for all PC, and all PC users will be coming to PS4 this week.
What's in it?
Updates include new simplified Chinese localization. So, Chinese.
Okay.
Sightings of different subspecies for grass fox have been made all over Gamea.
I don't know what any of that means.
So grass foxes are a creature, but you have then, it's like evolution style. We have slightly different variations of the same thing.
Okay.
In different areas. So it's not the same thing. You won't find a grass fox in the field area that you'd find in the beach area.
Okay.
They have slightly different modifications.
Gotcha.
New. This is new. This is another new thing. Legends tell of a mythical animal that may appear for those who bring about the great peace.
Ooh.
So this endgame thing. Improvement. Dismiss a farmhand from the farm management book. That was probably one of my big complaints when I was playing.
So you can fire people?
From the book. You can always fire people by going back to the farm, but if you're on the east side of the map and the farm's on the west side of the map, you gotta walk back.
You said the east, but for a second I thought you said it in a weird accent, like you said the east side of the map versus the
west side of the map. The east side of the map. Players can cancel a quest board task from interacting with the quest board again. I thought you always could do that. Maybe I was wrong. Add custom waypoints to the map. You can cycle through these and change the icon. That is a magnificent thing. That is probably of all the things they announced, other than like for improvements, which there's a couple more. That was probably my big complaint, is I could not set a custom waypoint and change what it was. So, like, it's one of those games, it's an open world game. You can do whatever you want in any direction you want to go. So maybe I'm doing a quest and I want to finish that quest, but I see something along the way. I can mark it, and when I'm done with the quest, and come back to it, and I will know what it is, whether it's that day or a week later.
Good.
So that's cool. Custom pathing is now possible. You can now set a custom destination for your celestial compass. So I'm guessing that has to do with the custom waypoints.
Like fast travel?
Well, the compass will, when you open up the compass, it puts a light of where you need to go.
Okay.
So you can probably set, like, a squiggly light versus a straight line. Because if you have to go to a mountain or go on the other side of the mountain, it'll just point the line through the mountain.
That's what Shadows of Colossus used to do.
Yeah. It is now possible to toggle active quests on and off from the map. Another big thing that was bugging me.
Yeah.
Mouse interaction with map is now improved. Navigation is now edge scrolling based on drag and clicking. The mouse pointer is now on the selection reticule instead of locked in the center of the screen. Improvement. Updated controller support. More controllers should now work natively.
Cool.
Improvement. Cats no longer instantly disappear if their appearances rules are invalid, but you're actively looking for them.
What? Is that like a bug thing?
Yeah, cats would disappear.
They would disappear. Fair enough.
Fix. NPC world icons sometimes do not appear after the NPC had moved on from the area. Excuse me.
I would think cats disappearing would be like realistic.
A new quest?
No.
Well, like literally disappearing in front of you.
Oh,
like
well, yeah, that's
so it's one of those fetch quests where you're in an area and you got to find the cats and just
well, yeah.
gone.
It'd be really hard to catch a cat, I would think.
Yeah, but it's already a pain in the butt.
Fair enough.
Fix. Made 2 tree plots in the desert region easier to access. They were previously very hard to get to. I don't know which ones those are. I would love to go back.
Because they were very hard to get to.
Yeah, I when the backpack is full, don't allow auto pickup of loot drops. Just notify a full backpack.
Oh, so was it like an over encumbered thing?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Well, it would also override it.
It should drive me crazy.
NPC grunt variations implemented. These were previously limited to a small set of available voice types. Animal previews are back. Adopt a Gruffalo quest. Befriend not completable. Oh, fixed. And fix the Adopt a Gruffalo quest. Befriend not completable if a player builds a pen and adopts Gruffalo before getting the quest. Oh. So if you did the thing before you did the quest, you couldn't.
Wouldn't let you do the quest.
Wouldn't let you do the quest.
That's a good fix.
Fabbit bounce sounds are now working. Fabbit's a rabbit thing.
I assumed as much.
Yeah.
Is it a fabulous rabbit?
Great Beard Off quest, which I've not done, resolves some players having issues with finishing the quest. I'm glad I didn't do it yet. And Spike the Sprite no longer appears in Arcadia after collection and loading.
Okay.
So that's everything. There's also localization updates for Chinese, Korean, and Russian,
Cool.
as well as simplified or
Well,
Japanese, Korean.
Good on
Russian.
them. That's a pretty sizable update.
And then this is the new creature.
Ooh, it looks like Umbrian or something.
Yeah. So there's and that's the new fox, and that's the other. See, there's your fox difference. So you've got the link to this if you put it behind us. Those of you who are listening, if you head over to the video, you'll be able to see it. I highly recommend picking up Yonder. It's a passive. I did a spotlight on it when it first came out. It's a passive open world game that is a lot of fun. It's Zelda without killing.
Yeah,
it's kind of the best way I describe it.
Yeah, that's the way you describe it to me.
And it's
although I do like killing, I have to say.
Yeah, but you're
always be an option.
You're trying to
it?
find the peace.
Should always be an option.
But you're trying to find the peace.
Fair enough.
You're not trying
Can
to
I
murder.
not find
everything.
the war?
Yeah, you're trying to find the peace.
All right.
Cool. So that is all of our details for the news.
Wow.
That was 6.
That's good.
So to recap, Don't Nod, Pushback Vampire, Spring 2018.
Sucks.
Netflix of indie games. You have Play on Jump. You go to playonjump.com is where you can find that.
Try it out.
Terrifying Jellyfish, aka TJ, featured in US Gamer.
Good for him.
The Chinese Room was had layoffs and temporarily closed.
Pretty annoying.
And then Yonder Chronicles had a massive update to it.
Good for them.
So, moving on to the spotlights.
Cool.
So, detail number 6, spotlights. I played a game and I streamed it. You can watch it on our channel, but the game is called Maize, Maize.
Maize is in corn, not maize is in something that you get
I mean,
lost in.
it kind of works both ways.
Ah.
So, Maize is, I'm going to read the actual description here because I feel like I should because...
I know that it includes the term sentient corn.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I want to pull up the official description for it, so give me a second here while this loads.
So
Here you go.
Go ahead.
Channeling elements of Monty Python in the funnier episodes of The X-Files, Maize is an absurdist first-person adventure with a cornucopia of highbrow puzzles to solve, talking oddities to meet, and mysteries to be harvested. That's the official definition of it. So basically what happened was I saw the trailer.
We saw the trailer together.
We saw the trailer.
Yeah, and Wheezy.
It involves, I showed it to you guys, I believe.
Oh, okay.
It involves sentient corn and a Russian teddy bear. Robotic Russian teddy bear. Sorry, let me get that straight.
Yeah.
And it looked really, really good. It looked like a movie trailer. So it had the voiceover
it looked like
guy.
It would make a great Pixar movie.
Yeah. So I played it, and I am not done it yet. I think I have 1 or 2. I think there's 5 or 6 chapters, and I'm on chapter. I just finished chapter 4.
How long did it take you to get to chapter 4?
Like an hour and a half. So it's not a long game.
Not super long.
No. It depends on how good you are at solving puzzles.
How good are you at solving puzzles?
Not very good. I had to walk through. Help me on some things.
Okay.
So, the good thing about it, the character design is great. Okay. So the sentient corn are all British, like what I think of being like. You know better. I want to say Cockney, like British people.
Okay.
Is that the word?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Where they remind me of not the prim and proper British. They're like the countrymen of British.
They're like the commoners.
Yeah. And
right.
it's hysterical how they're like, oh, we need to do this. Oh no, and they're just the back and forth between them is great.
So the voice acting is solid.
The voice acting is amazing.
I'm disappointed I didn't get asked to audition
for it
to American.
Oh,
probably.
Yeah, but they didn't. The problem I have with that is it doesn't happen enough.
Right.
Like it's few and far between. It took me probably a good half an hour before I even got to the corn.
Okay.
Really? To the
so
talking
how do you
corn.
Start? What do you when you?
So
start?
when you start the game.
Yeah. What do you play as? Like, do you play as the sentient corn? Do you
no,
play as the teddy
you
bear?
I'm assuming a person.
Okay.
Because the teddy bear says you very stupid.
Okay.
Very very stupid. That's my bad Russian accent.
That's not bad.
So when the way the game literally starts, you start the game up and you're in a corn maze.
Okay.
Like a corn maze, not like maize as in corn. So
this is gonna be a rough one, isn't it?
Yes. So you're in a corn maze and you start walking through and it teaches you the mechanics of like, oh, you can pick this up, you can research this, and there's a lot of, if you like collectathons, it's perfect for you because there's a lot of things that you collect that tell you about the world, and some of them are stupid because it's the humorous.
Yeah, I mean it's a very
like,
humor-driven game, isn't it?
So it's like you pick this thing up and it was like, why'd you pick this up? This is just a dirty old rock. Type thing. Like
enough.
It looks like every other rock. Why don't you pick the one up next to it? Type thing. Like those.
That's good.
Those kind of
I
things.
like that. That's dry wit. Is
so,
it made from an English team? Do we know that?
I'm assuming. I don't know. It's Finish Line Games. I don't know where they're from.
I'll look it up. You do your thing.
I've got it pulled up. Well, the maze. I got it. Hold on. Loading. But so the way the game starts is you're in the corn maze and you got to find your way to where you need to go. which is to a house. There's a farmhouse out there that you need to go find. You get to the farmhouse and you realize the door's locked.
I give up.
I've got a Zang.
I already forgot what the name was.
It's Finish Line Games. I don't see the About section.
All right, no worries. I'm sidetracking.
You are. But I'm going to get this.
I just, I like all the facts.
It does not tell me.
Okay.
It does not say where they're from.
Go for it.
So you get to the farmhouse and you find out that the house is locked. So obviously your brain says, hey, I got to probably get in there. So you walk around this area, and the issue I have is it doesn't really tell you where to go, which is good, but you have such a big area that you can scan, which is bad at first. It doesn't narrow it down like you're only searching this area. Because my brain was like, I have to search this whole cornfield. I was like, oh god, because it's pretty big. All things considered, like size-wise, relatively big, and you're going through a corn maze, so you get turned around a lot.
Yeah.
So the key to the house is in the chicken coop behind the house.
Spoilers.
So you walk around, you find the key to the house, and that starts off a sequence of events. So you walk into the house, you look around like you would with any other walking sim of like seeing what's there. You find there's a meat grinder in the kitchen that you can interact with, and it tells you there's something jammed in it. So okay, I have to go figure out something to get that out.
Get the meat out.
Yes. Well, it ends up not being meat. There's something else. I'm not gonna say what it is because again, it's kind of spoilery if you're gonna play it.
All right.
So you see stuff like that, and then there's doors you can't go through, so you got to figure out how to get into them. And everything that you can interact with highlights in a yellow outline, which is kind of cool. So it's like because there's a lot of junk that just sits around.
Don't get too lost.
Yeah. The only issue I really had when it came to getting lost, there's two times I really got like, what the hell am I supposed to be doing? One was I set off a sequence of events that I had to do 4 steps to set off the event I needed to do. It's kind of like the meat grinder where it's like you had to do this, this, and this, and then you can meat grind.
Gotcha.
But I set off the sequence of events, and then it said, cool, you did it, and then it didn't tell me what to do next.
Huh.
So it's like the narrator had a snarky comment, and you're like, okay, I did something successfully, but unless I just missed it, there was no hint to what I was supposed to do next. So that's the first time I looked up a walkthrough. There apparently was a thing that was not triggered before that triggered it in a room.
So just a bug.
But it was teeny tiny to find.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't like, versus some of the stuff you interact with, like I said, doors are obviously are pretty easy to find. Bookshelves you can interact with. Stuff on tables you can interact with.
So it's something that could have very easily been missed.
It was very... even when I knew what I was looking for, finding it was a pain in the butt.
Oh, that sucks.
And then you see it, because it looks... The way it's designed... Again, I don't want to spoil what it is, because it sets off the next sequence of events. But when you find it, it's basically... Looks like it should have the outline on it as part of the design, versus saying, hey, click on this. And like that might have just been me not figuring out what was going on. So you set off that sequence of events. That once you're done with the house, you then go into the research facility, which is where the game really picks up. This is where the corn come in. And the house took me, like I said, about half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, because you're learning the stuff as you go along.
So there's no, like, press this to do that stuff
anywhere? No. It's just like you can go up to... So one of the things is there's a kitchen sink, or a bathroom sink that's... you can interact with it first, but it says you need to clog the drain. So then in your brain, you're like, if I pick something up to clog the drain...
So it gives you hints, but it doesn't actually, like, give you...
Doesn't tell you what you need.
Tutorial, per se.
So one of the hardest things was I had to pick something up, and then I had to use another item to make that something into something else to then make it do something.
Yeah, that's...
And that didn't get described to me, and I was like... I figured it out, because it's like the 2 items I needed were side by side.
Right.
I was like, oh, let's put them together. But nothing before that had told me to do that.
It should have been a case of, like, when you get the 2 things, like a little crafting menu pops up or something.
Well, not even if it was just a notification of like, even if it was just like, hey, you can do X, Y, and
blah, blah, blah,
well, not
put them together.
I don't know if it'd be that direct, but even if it was just like a hint of like
something,
maybe I should do. It was a hammer was one of them. Maybe I should hit that with a hammer,
right? Type
thing. So, but the institute, when I got into the research facility, is where it gets really interesting because
that's where the teddy bear is.
Not yet. Well, yes. So you get in, and you walk around. You have no idea what's going on. The first thing you see is this really old, spongy-looking dude. That is the owner. I'm guessing the owner of the facility. I've yet to find out who he is, but he's everywhere. So I'm guessing it's a story. The story of the institute/research facility is Bob and Vlad. So Bob is the corn headmaster dude. I don't know what to call him.
Headmaster.
He's the boss of the corn facility.
Okay.
Vlad is the Russian teddy bear. So I don't know.
Okay.
They have a history, but I've yet to come across 100% what that.
So we don't know if
entails.
they're friends or enemies.
No, they get along because they leave notes for each other. So like,
Gotcha.
one of the things you'll see post-it notes throughout, and the post-it notes are how you get the story. So
Gotcha.
one of the first post-it notes when you go into the facility is there's a giant statue there. And always read left to right on all your post-it notes. Just FYI, don't try and pick and choose through them because the story will make more sense because you read left to right on a book.
Gotcha.
So the first one was like, "Hey, I decided to build a statue. Blah blah blah. Thought it'd be fun to have this in the lobby." The next note is then Vlad responding to him like, "You stupid idiot! Why would you spend money on a statue?" It took me.
So quirky, villainous companions.
Yeah, it was back and forth that way. So the basic gameplay of this game is find stuff and solve puzzles.
Okay.
Some of it's really simple. Some of it, the part where it gets hard is when you solve a puzzle, the sequence of events puzzle, and you're like, okay, where do I go next?
Right.
So one of the ones I ran into in the basement of the facility, and what they do really well is they have boxes, orange boxes that block where you can't go. So like when I was done in the basement, they put orange boxes up and like, okay, I'm done with that area.
Right.
Unless it opens back up.
So
and I was
some
able to go
visual
back in.
clues at
Yeah.
least.
But there was one where I finished, I just happened to go the right way. Like, I got to this new area, the basement area, and I just happened to go the right way into the first room, solved the puzzle that was in that room. Pretty simple, actually. That one was probably the easiest one. And then it said something about a nuclear reactor. And I was like, oh, I'm clearly looking for something that has some sort of nuclear device attached to it. I then find the nuclear device. So that was a good hint, but not all of them were like that. Most of them were, hey, you did this, and they'll say something off the cuff and have subtitles on. Because you will miss it otherwise.
Gotcha.
Um,
So it's one of those games where if you're not paying 100% attention, you could very easily
miss something, and there's no way to look up what was said.
Gotcha.
So you're just wandering around aimlessly.
There's no like voice diary or anything.
Correct.
Okay.
So I'm enjoying the game so far. It's a bit slow. It's a bit cumbersome because it feels like a lot of fetching things that are not necessary. But the story itself, which is where this game strives, is very, very interesting, and I'm very intrigued to see how it ends. The gameplay for it is very boring.
Is there a lot of backtracking?
Not in sections, yes, but of the whole world, no.
Okay.
Which is what I like.
So like you just running back and forth in a particular area.
Yeah.
But then
So
once you're done with that area.
So the example I'll use is in the facility they have you have the main corridor hallway, which you'll be going back and forth a lot through because that's where all the rooms come off of. But once you're done with that section, you will not go back to it once you go to the basement. You won't have to come back up until you're done with the basement.
Gotcha.
So I like that because it made it so much easier of navigating. I didn't know that at first, but I quickly realized that was the case. Also, another tip is look around everything. There's a drawer I didn't know because there's a room you walk into and it's got a desk on it, and you're standing on the front of the desk. But you have to go around to the back, which is against a wall, which seems a weird place to go to open a drawer that has something in it.
Oh.
So things like that, where like I've then started.
Was that just like
everywhere.
a reticle issue, or was that just like where you were actually?
No, that's where you had to go.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, so you couldn't see the drawer from the one side. You had to walk around.
If it's against a wall, though, like I'm trying to picture.
Well, it wasn't against a wall. There's a gap.
Oh, okay.
There's a gap, but you don't see it unless you walk around by the wall. And my brain didn't tell me because it looked like scenery.
Because you don't usually imagine drawers to open towards walls, I would imagine.
Well, I just didn't think because nothing again up to that point it told me a drawer would open. Once that happened, I was like, now I got to check every fucking drawer, which is annoying as hell.
Fair enough.
Because you go through. But again, the stuff highlights that you can open, so it does help you out there. The gameplay itself is really repetitive, really, really boring. The story is very interesting. That's what kept me going with it. So if I had to like rate it or give it a number, I would probably say 6.5, 7, just because the gameplay is not so good.
Could have been resolved with a bit more in the way of sort of advice.
Yes.
And
advice,
clear structure, and less fetch quests.
Yes. Okay. That nails it. The story is amazing. Like, if they make a movie out of this, I would watch the hell of it. All the cutscenes are my favorite part is sitting back and watching all the cutscenes with it because that's where you have the interaction. When you first meet Vlad, so you got to build Vlad, you got to put him back together. And one of my favorite things is when you're done, when that cutscene ends, the narrator over top says, "Well, I guess you're gonna have a pesky Russian bear following you around the rest of the game now." Like things like that. Again, it's super cheesy. Or Vlad will have. There's moments where you have to send Vlad into an area you can't access, and he goes the whole time he's in there. He's like, "You stupid human! Why are you making Vlad walk through here? I don't want to do this. And then he'll get whatever he needs to come back out, and he'll look up at you like, "I'm never doing that again for you, you stupid human. You're an idiot."
So he just rips on you.
Yeah, the whole time. And every time you pick something up, it's like, "Why do you pick up all this junk?" And it's stuff you need and all that kind of stuff. So
is it annoying or is it cute?
It depends on where you're at in the quest.
I imagine if you're stuck.
If you're stuck, it's very annoying. There was times though I would be talking to Vlad, like, not like my character, but like me playing the game. So like I'd be running through this narrow corridor, and I'd look back and be like, "Hey Vlad, you coming?" Like it was nice to have that companion with you.
Gotcha.
But there's certain moments where you're just like, "I want you to shut up right now, so I can solve this problem."
Interesting.
So like I said, I would give it probably, like I said, a 6.5, 7.
Okay.
It was a good game. Gameplay definitely held it back. Story was amazing. So if you guys make a movie of it, I will gladly watch that movie.
There you go. Could just clip all the cutscenes together, see what happens.
You could. That's too much work.
So
what do you got?
My spotlight is an interestingly titled game called Burly Men at Sea.
I've heard of this game.
Yeah, so
I've not played it.
I didn't know an awful lot about it, honestly. I was just what I tend to do now with the indie podcast is I'll just sort of browse through the PSN store on release day and just look for the most interesting indie game I can find. It's relatively within budget, and I'll pick it up and I'll play it. And last week it just so happened to be Burly Men at Sea. Mm-hmm. There's definitely an aesthetic about the game that called me in. It looked very, I don't know, like visually pleasing. It was kind of like
the color palette they use.
Yeah, the color palette's nice. It almost looks like a Wes Anderson movie in game form. There's interesting colors. There's interesting, like they use like the kind of cardboard cutout movement.
South Park style.
Yeah, South Park style. Just really sort of a cutesy looking trailer for it. And I wasn't really sure what the game was, and it took me playing the game to realize what the game was about, because there was like no real introduction to it. Like they do not tell you what to do or why to do it, and it's on you to sort of figure out why you exist as three burly men.
So do you you are the
three burly men? Yes, they move as a group, as a unit.
Okay.
So basically,
it's like puzzle solving.
Not really,
because I think of Zelda.
It's decision making. So here's the situation. You just like right on the title screen, you have like the three burly men, and then you have this kind of well, that's it. Actually, that's all you get, and then you have to figure out that by holding R2 or L2, you can like see more of the screen in that direction. So you can't see more of the screen unless you hold down like R2 or L2 or trigger button. And you hold down R2, and then you see there's like what do you call it? A letter in a bottle, like
message in a bottle.
Message in a bottle, yeah.
It's a message.
And then that's when the game starts. You look at it, and then it gets swept up, and then they read it, and then they're like, oh yeah, let's find out more about this. It was a treasure map. Let's find out more about this treasure map. So then you wind up on this very short pier where there's maybe 5 houses. You can explore all the houses, left to right or right to left. The farthest right one is the one where you actually begin the game. So like I would recommend, if you're playing it for the first time, go left and then talk to all the characters. And it's silly, it's cute. You can go into a farmyard and like talk to a cow and stuff, and it's it's some hello Mr. Cow and all that kind of weird stuff. But it's told like a narrative story. So there's like text, almost like a poem at the top, and then it will give you some time to wander around the screen, click on things. You're only controlling the characters by the triggers. Like we're either all going to go right or we're all going to go left. And then you have this little circle reticule on the screen that you move to actually click on like a door or an item or whatever.
I wonder why they had 3 then. I'm sure they're friends. I'm sure they're.
Oh yeah, they're like brothers or something stupid. I don't know.
But if you move in unison, I wonder why.
Just 3 burly dudes. I don't know. But yeah, so eventually, anyway, you stumble across this house. It's like this weird library area, and then you can start the story anew. You go into your boat after talking to everybody, and then you go off to sea. And here's where it gets interesting. So when you go off to sea, you get eaten by a whale instantly.
So it's Jonah. Story of Jonah.
I mean, partially, I suppose. I don't remember how many burly men were in Jonah, but so you get eaten by a whale, and this is inevitable. As far as I can tell, this is inevitable. So you get eaten by the whale, and then you get to the place where you can start making decisions. So you go down to the whale's gullet, and you're there talking to these 3 kind of, I want to say like the witches or ghosts or something that live in the whale's stomach, because why not?
They were eaten by the whale.
I assume so. And they say, well, you can hang around with us by this campfire and wait, and then the whale will like spit you out with your boat, or if you want to, you can take the emergency exit through the blowhole. And so it's at that point that you're like, okay, I don't, whatever. So I hung out with with them. And I was like, okay. And then they let me out and I gave me the boat and I carried on my journey. And then you get to another kind of decision-making process. Okay, you can do this or you can do that. And a lot of them involve the controls as well. So you go onto an island where there's a bird. You touch the bird, and then suddenly a giant rock monster wakes up, and he wants to bring you a flower. So he goes to get a tree, and then he brings you the tree, and then, like, depending on how you treat him will depend on what happens next. So if you try and get back on your boat, he might get mad at you, and then fling you all out to sea. If you touch the flower that he gave you, he might be happy or go and find you something else, in which case you can get back on your boat. So it's like depending on how you interact with each separate scene depends on your next
die
voyage.
though. It's just very...
You will inevitably always end up in the sea talking to a monster. So this is the end. So there's like, I want to say there's like 4, maybe 5
spoilers
sections. Yeah, I'm not going to actually say what happens, but so the thing is, the whole thing is like Groundhog Day. So you have 4, maybe 5 sections that you can make multiple decisions in each section. And there's more than 2 branching paths from a lot of these sections. The sections depend on either controls or decisions that you make time-wise. Like, do I split this monster's mouth wide open to save myself, or do I crush the monster's mouth to go back in, and then that's a whole other path. You eventually end up back in the library, where the guy says, oh, it sounds like you've had a fantastic journey, and then he puts a book up, and it says, like, you got to see this, and they're all on the map.
It's kind of like Path of Destinies. You never played that game, but basically you went through the same story multiple times.
Yeah.
And then you could base your decisions on that. You had different endings.
Yeah, so here's how it runs. So after you get that map filled in whichever way that you went, they make a book, and the book has like your story on it, and then like it shows you the exact path you took. They put it on the shelf, and you can see there's like an entire rest of the shelf that you have to fill in.
That is literally Path of Destinies. They do the same thing.
Yeah.
I love those kind of things because I very rarely replay a game that like. I'm playing a lot of Destiny right now, and I'm gonna level up a second character, but at the same time, I'm like, I've already played the story, I'm done.
Yeah.
But if you do it from a different perspective, you're like, oh, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
I love those type of games.
Making different decisions on the way. But it's like this one forces you basically to try and find a combination of all the decisions.
Yep.
And then you fill the rack, and then you're done. And that's the story of the Burly Men at Sea. But it's so beautifully done. Like I said, it is like a Wes Anderson movie or something, and it's very kind of unique art style, very calming. It's just a nice time, you know what I mean? You're just sort of reading this poem as it goes along. You end up talking to the monster says, oh, one day we'll meet under different circumstances, and then you go back to the beginning and you do it again, and then sort of finding all of those different alternate routes throughout the world and trying to discover, oh, like what do I do here? What does that affect me? Where does that take me? And then I have to now deal with a new thing. Like I got into a race with the Grim Reaper, who was on a raft, and it took me forever to figure out that I have the choice of either beating him outright or letting him win. And then if I let him win, I get a different outcome. And it's just kind of, it's so unique. And it's only $10. So it's kind of like, I really enjoyed it. It doesn't, I would say, despite the fact that the game is largely replaying over and over, once you're done with that, the shelf, I don't see a lot of replayability in there, but it is only $10, and it is an experience, and it's a fun experience. So yeah, if you like the idea of like a cutesy story where you can really just relax and enjoy it, and sort of keep trying to do a Groundhog Day thing of filling in these
the waters of early 20th century Scandinavia.
Yeah, exactly. They're all like sort of
Burly Men at Sea.
Yeah, but it's really cool game. I liked it a lot.
So cool. Burly Men at Sea, $10. I don't think Maize, I said the price is $20. Full price.
And Burly Men, we have a 45-minute gameplay thing up on our channel, and that has 3 paths. I went through 3 paths.
And I have 20-something minutes of Maize that I went through. That's up. I can't remember how long it is. Yeah, live stream I've got. I started the live stream, I think, where I ended that plate, or that section of recording, because I was like, I don't want to do that again. I want to continue on.
Gotcha.
So cool. So final detail. I'm going to clear. I have like 13 tabs open here. We're going to close all these out. The final detail, Tom, which is where we come up with a question. But this question is more of,
what's your question, Bio?
What indie games are you excited about that are coming soon?
I'm going to let you start because I have to try and find it just for mine.
So the first one I'm going to start with is I'm gonna do 2 because I'm gonna do like 1A. I'm not gonna really talk about it because everybody knows about it. Cuphead, I'm excited about for obvious reasons, art style, that kind of stuff. But the one that you guys may not know that I'm excited about is a game called Raft. So what Raft is?
I do recall you mentioning this.
Yeah, so Raft is, I saw it on PC. It's early access right now on Steam. I don't know if it's... I believe it's coming to PS4 and Xbox later. I'm not quite sure. I hope so. But Raft, the description of Raft. In Raft, players and their friends are thrown into an epic oceanic an epic oceanic adventure and tasked with surviving a perilous sea. Gather debris to survive, expand your raft, and be wary of the dangers of the ocean. Trapped on a small piece of wood with nothing but a hook made of old pieces of plastic, you wake up on the vast blue ocean. You're totally alone, and there's no land as far as the eye can see. The water is calm, and all you hear is the faint sounds of waves and a gentle breeze. With a dry throat and an empty stomach, survival will not be easy. So this basically, as it says, you start on a raft. You're on literally, it looks like a pallet.
It sounds a little Stranded Deepy, is it?
Kind of.
Okay.
So you're on a pallet, and then from there, what you got to do is debris floats by. You can hook it, or you can pick it up with your hand if it gets close enough, and you build your raft from there. So you pick up planks, you pick up plant fawns. I don't know what they're called.
Fauna.
Like thatch type stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like stuff to craft with.
Okay.
You pick up tin cans and all this kind of stuff, and as you go along, you get these resources, and you have a crafting menu to build your platform out, and then from there you can build up. You have pillars to build structures up. You have nets that'll automatically catch stuff for you as you go along. There's no real end game that I've seen to this so far, but it is early access coming out 2018. It is out now on Steam, but it's not officially releasing until 2018. And I'm interested to see, because even between like version 1.0 that I saw and whatever they're on now has been a big jump. They did a graphics jump not too long ago where a lot of things changed. And it was like that moment where it went from like early access. I mean, it's still technically early access, but went from early access to not so early access looking. It's like, okay, this is our interface. This is what we're dealing with. This is where we're going with it. Yeah, had a little bit more polish to it.
Gotcha.
So I'm excited. It's very much a crafting game, as you know I love to do, and you can build your house in the middle of nowhere. They've added multiplayer, which I'm excited about. It used to be just single player, but they've added in multiplayer, and you know I love the life of multiplayer.
You are a social gamer.
So I don't know what the end game is yet. I don't know if they know what the end game is yet, but right now you basically have to build a raft, and there's a shark that swims around that tries to destroy your raft and tries to kill you.
Well, of course.
So that's
why are sharks always the bad guy?
Because they're big beasties in the ocean.
No, I bet you we kill more of them.
I mean, the whale is the bad guy in the
Stranded Deep.
Yeah.
I don't think he was the bad
guy. Remember him?
He was just big.
Yeah. Well, sharks are known to be just because the way they look. I think it's because they look vicious too.
Yeah.
Just because we kill more of them doesn't mean anything. Because
I think there is some ridiculous statistic like you're more likely to get hit by lightning than eaten by a shark.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, but they in the ocean.
You get a bad rat.
What other ocean creature would you make a bad animal? Exactly.
Okay.
So there you go.
Point.
That's why.
All right.
But that's Raft. I'm excited. Like I said, it's out now in early access on Steam, coming out officially in 2018.
Awesome.
What do you got?
So I have one actually that we found kind of by accident, which we are members of a website called Like Minded, which is kind of for press basically, where you can get keys from developers and things like that. And they also show off a lot of their early artwork and kind of style and things like that. And this one game sort of drew my attention because it's claymation, which I thought was super interesting. I there's not that many that I could think of claymation games, except for like Clay Fighters or whatever on the N64. This game is called Harold Halibut, and it is essentially this weird set in space tale about this guy called Harold. The trailer is amazing. We have it on the channel. I recommend you. And we also have a making of on the channel. But they are making like a fully fledged like Wallace and Gromit style claymation video game that is an indie game, and that alone,
the art style is cool looking.
Yeah, I mean that alone is reason to look at it. But the fact is, the narrative of it looks incredible, and again, it looks like an indie movie. When you see the trailer, you're just like, man, like this could actually be like fucking, not to bring him up again, but like a Wes Anderson movie. That would be fully enjoyable, but you are a part of it. And the gameplay footage that is available and it is out there just looks nuts. Like I said, it starts off with him just like, I don't know, doing a day-to-day task, and then ending up, you realize that he's actually on a space station. And then you're wandering around the space station as this claymation Harold, interacting with different characters that are all claymation. The entire thing is claymation. And it's beautiful. So here's a little bit about it. So The story takes on something of a sci-fi spin as the characters try to relaunch their spaceship that has crash-landed on an ocean planet. Enter Harold, resident janitor, who takes it upon himself to help out the captain by keeping things interesting for the ship's inhabitants, whatever that entails. Oh, Harold. There are also secrets to uncover because it is an adventure game after all. So, yeah, that's kind of your job, is the janitor to entertain all of the guys on this space station. But it just looks incredible.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, so that's why I'm really excited about that one. Again, there's not a lot to go off yet. We reached out to them and they did say that they're looking to put some kind of a demo together, and I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
The other game is actually a game that I got to meet the creator of, which was at Pixel Pop, and that was a game called Luca. That's Lucah. And Luca was a very, very interesting game. It's the first interview that I did on the first day by myself, and the game is essentially this weird dreamlike aesthetic to it. Everything about the art style is like, it's like scratchy, so it's like a rough sketch of someone where you leave the lines kind of all over the place, and it plays a little bit like that No Mercy game where you're kind of going around like a Zelda sort of screen-to-screen situation, but the fighting, the combat was wonderful. The idea of the narrative behind it was wonderful. Like that you're just trying to escape this kind of insanity, this kind of weird dark dream world was really cool. So between the combat, the aesthetics, again, I really enjoyed my time with it. Honestly, it's probably my favorite one that I've played out of a lot of these developer games that we've played.
Cosmic Quick Stop's some of my favorite.
Yeah, that was
one
a
I'm
great
excited
one too.
about. I don't know when that's coming though.
But I really liked it, and I thought, you know what, I would totally pick that up when it eventually does get a release. So hopefully, you know, the guy's been working on it for a while now. It seems to be looking better and better. The studio is Me Less Than 3, which is that, you know, the weird thing together, but they pronounce the whole thing, so it's Me Less Than 3. And yeah, I thought it was great. So I think between Harold Halibut and Luca, those are the two that I'm kind of looking to see show up in a store someplace.
I have a couple more.
Go for it.
So you reminded me of one, but I'm going to get to that to last because it's probably the one I'm most excited about.
Okay.
Because I can't believe I completely forgot about it. But
Stacks on
the other
stacks.
one, the other one is Spin Tires, Mud Runner. So this basically lets you control off-road vehicles in an open world. And as dumb as that sounds, I'm hoping there's things involved with that, but that sounds like a Keegan game. Like, give me a vehicle and let me do whatever the hell I want.
Okay.
And do my own world. So the description is, like Spin Tires before it, Spin Tires Mud Runners puts players in the driver's seat and dares them to take charge of incredible all-terrain vehicles venturing across extreme Siberian landscapes with only the map and a compass as guides. This edition comes complete with a brand new sandbox map joining the original game's 5 environments, a total graphical overhaul, a new challenge mode with up to 9 dedicated maps, 13 new vehicles, and other comprehensive environments. Watch the trailer for this. I don't know what it is about. I'm going to pull like the man card here with the big trucks. Love it. I'm excited about it.
Because you're a NASCAR fan.
Maybe, but there's just something about this game. Like it doesn't look great, but it looks interesting, if that makes sense. Like the graphics, I think the graphics are passable, but they're not top notch.
And this is Focus Home, yeah?
Yes.
Because they're working on Cthulhu and a few
Well,
other
Focus Home is a
right?
publisher. Saber Interactive is the developer.
But they've had some. Focus Home's got a pretty good track record with a lot of their releases.
Well, they're doing Don't Nod. They're doing Vampyr.
Oh, they're releasing.
They're publishing.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
This comes out October 31st, which is Halloween. So probably won't play it on Halloween, but I'm excited to see this one.
Time frame for release of a mud truck game.
I mean you
it's
got
as
to
good
release
as
it at some
any, I
point.
suppose. Yeah, there you go.
The last one is, and you said it, was Stacks on Stacks on Stacks. I can't believe I forgot about that game.
So good.
I saw it first at Indie PopCon, played it probably, 2 or 3 times at least. I went back.
Yeah,
Cosmos
you went
Quick
back
Stop
a
was
couple
fun.
times.
But Stacks on Stacks on Stacks, there's something, that is me when it comes to games in a nutshell, of like games I love. It's a puzzle game. It's something I don't have to think about. Like
Super smart puzzle game, too.
Yeah. I really love like games like I'm playing a lot of Halo, play a lot of Destiny now. And Destiny has its fill, but I just love I really love Tumble for VR. There's something about that game too that I love, and it's the puzzle solving, I guess, because I'm very much a mathematical brain, and I love that kind of stuff. So Stacks on Stacks on Stacks from Ian. Ian and Ellie, I think, is officially the name of the developers. It's both of them. But Ian, I saw it first at Indie PopCon, played it 3 times. Then he was at Pixel Pop, and I was like, we didn't record. I was like, I just got to come play. He had a couple new levels that I checked out that time.
Yeah, He come a lot of the levels come to him like in the shower and stuff. Like
Yeah.
he'll just be hanging out, and then I think, what if I did it like under a certain height instead of over a height?
Yeah.
And then I love that.
There was one when I played it where you have special blocks that fall down. So one of the things is you have 2 scales, and you have to get. The goal is to get the blocks over a certain height, but if you put the scale all the way down, it still doesn't reach. Then there's special blocks that fall that make other things fall. So like when I did it, it was
like a saxophone, wasn't it?
yeah. I was gonna say I think it was music instruments kept falling, and you had to figure out how to stack those up, stacks on stacks on stacks. But we had a lot of fun. It's both single player and co-op, couch co-op. And I was just like, this game shouldn't. It looks beautiful. The art is amazing, and it should not. I told him, I go, this game should not be as fun as it is, but it's amazing. And he kind of looked at me like, was that a compliment?
Yeah.
But
it's got a lot of attention as well.
Yes.
Like as far as everywhere that we've been eagling the indies and everything, this is a game that we've seen come up time and time again. He really does work it as well.
I can't.
It's solid.
We talked a little bit at Pixel Pop about what's to come. I can't really talk about it, but some of the ideas he has is very, very exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Game.
I don't know when that game releases, but it better be soon.
It's already been greenlit, I think,
Yeah.
for PS4 and Steam, but I don't. I mean, I assume it's obviously still in development, so
Yeah.
I assume it'll be a little while till we see it.
It's
But keep your eyes peeled for it.
SOSOS.com.
S.com.
Stacks on stacks on stacks.
SOSOS.
I can never
Stacks
remember.
On stacks on stacks. Yeah.
That's not it.
Okay, well, it's something like that.
SOSO stacks
Stacks
on
on
stacks.
stacks on stacks.
on stacks on stacks.
Just keep adding S's.
Yeah, just add OSs.
We'll find it for you. I'll post it in the description. Don't worry. But yeah, it's a great looking game.
Yeah, that one, like, it's one of the cool things about that's, oh look, there's his art. I found it. Apparently Soldier Boy has a Stack on Deck song game made with Unity, Ian and Ellie. I'm gonna find it here, but anyways,
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll find it later.
yeah. Like we get the advantage, or we have the pleasure, I should say, of when we go to these conventions of people letting us play their games, letting us talk about it, interview them, record gameplay footage, which is a lot of fun. It says something about the game, though, when I want to go back and continue to play it. Like, no knock on any of the other developers. I did the same thing with Cosmos, but even Cosmos I played twice, because the first time I played, I was like, I didn't really know what was going on, so I wanted to go back and play it once I got a hang of it, because I think we had to go to an interview or we had to do something.
Yeah.
So I went back to play it, and I enjoyed that game. But this one, for, like I said, for whatever reason, just
Hooked you.
it's SOSOS game.com.
Ah, we missed the game.
Yeah.
There you go.
There it is. So I'm super, super, super excited. Also, I love that their FAQs is facts on facts on facts. I'm super excited for this game. I cannot wait for it to come out.
There you go.
Can't praise them enough. Release date TBA, but it is PS4, PC, Mac, and Linux.
It's gonna be a good time.
So, this has been Indie Please Add Details, Episode 7, where we jump in and talk about the news and our weekly excursions in the indie development world. We then spotlight a couple games, Tom.
You do it like Shakespearean at the end. Like it's
Yeah.
like you take a breath after each one. You're
We
like, we then
spotlight a couple games and end it all off with a topic of discussion that you can join down in the comments below, or on Twitter at Level2GamersSTL, or on Discord. I do want to say thank you to everybody who has watched this up to this point. It's been kind of cool seeing this, because if you've been with us for a little bit, you know we used to have a PlayStation podcast, and now it's indie, and I feel like this fits a lot better with what we do, and I enjoy doing this podcast. And I've had people come to me and say as we talked about last week, finding games is we talked about it on the podcast, finding games is the hardest thing to do. And they're like,
There's
oh,
so many.
yeah, they're like, I never heard of that game. I was like, cool. And people have picked up games because of it. And I was like, that's awesome. That's what we're here for. We're here to inform you about what we think you should check out. Stacks on stacks on stacks. And where you should be looking for them. So thank you guys so much for everything. If you guys have any sort of feedback, leave it down in the comments below. If you're on the social medias, you can hit us up on Twitter at Level2GamersSTL, or again Discord or Facebook or wherever else. Where else are we? We're Instagram Level2GamersSTL.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
Spread
You're
our seed all over the
everywhere
internet.
to me.
Okay, we're waffling.
Inside.
Love you. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and as always,
Welcome to the second level. Bye.
Ain't no game.